we're going to start this night, gentlemen, with the Big East. Creighton, Providence, a double overtime win for the Friars. This one was really interesting down the stretch, especially from the standpoint where Providence made defensive stops when they had to. Rob Doster, our Big East expert, what was your biggest takeaway from this win?
I just thought that both of these teams are very, very good. I think both of these teams are good enough to make it to the second weekend. I think Creighton is probably, I've said this over and over again for like the last 2 or 3 weeks. I think that they are the best team in the Big East. I think they are the team that's best built for March in this conference. We saw a little bit tonight with the way that Ryan Nembhard and Trey Alexander were making plays off the bounce. I thought that Kalkbrenner was really good defensively, but, Providence, you go into that building, they just know how to win. Like, Jeff, we make the joke about them being lucky, right? They just know how to win in that place. Bryce Hopkins didn't play great, made the shots he had to make down the stretch. Devin Carter, he was pretty good. Noah Locke made a bunch of shots. They know how to win, and they just find a way to get it done. And Ed Cooley's just such a terrific coach. We make this joke all the time. Like, if you're a basketball program that is in need of someone to take over, I don't know why you wouldn't just back up the Brinks truck and see if you could find a way to convince Ed to leave there. He's terrific at what he does.
If I'm Georgetown, I tear one out, I give him the blank one, and just Ed, fill in whatever the number is, whatever it is, fill it in, baby, fill it in.
Everybody right now is pausing their stream. They're zooming in on the screen. They're trying to figure out exactly what your account and routing numbers are right now.
Can we clear that out of the books? I think it's
it's a little late for all that. Good.
It is a little late, but I would agree. I mean, listen, they win close games. I mean, they're 9-1 in their last 10 games, overtime games. They're 14-0 at home. We're not calling it the whatever the hell it is, Amica Pavilion or something. We're calling it the Dunk because that's what it is. And I'm telling you, like, I was at Duke a week ago for the Duke Carolina game at Cameron. I'm not kidding when I tell you, the Dunk their student section is as good as the students, the Dookie, the Cameron Crazies, as good.
Wow.
Because they're drunker, first of all. They're more drunker, whatever you want to call it. That's number one. They're meaner, no doubt, not even close, because they're nicer down south. We know that. And they just only have, think about it, it's such a small school. You've got nearly the entire school at every game. And they can all pretty much get in, which is the nice part. But yeah, Cooley's done an unbelievable job. The fact that he's got this team right now within a game of the Big East regular season title, the lead, when he lost all five starters from a Sweet 16 team a year ago at Providence.
Well, okay, let's qualify that, because Jared Bynum was his best player, and Jared Bynum didn't start last year. He brought him off the bench for multiple reasons.
He lost five really good players.
Lost five really good players, but that's what you can do in the transfer portal era. Right?
But you need to get lucky. And obviously,
to a point. But like, it's also it's kind of, if you are good at what you do, this is what the expectation should kind of be, right? If you're going to be a program that's going to be successful in this era, where you're going to bring in veterans and you're going to go into the transfer portal, you should be able to find a way. You don't have to win it every year. And with this win, I still think Providence is probably going to end up being like the 3 or the 4 seed in the Big East tournament. So they're in the mix. They're a game out of first place, but that's what you should be able to do as one of the best programs in a conference. If you lose 3 or 4 guys, 3 or 4 key players, 3 or 4 starters, 5 starters, whatever the number is, you should be able to kind of rebuild and reload and get that thing going again. And to his credit, the one thing I will say is he was able to find guys that fit with what he wants to be able to do and kind of fit like his style as a coach, right? He went and he got Noah Locke, who could replace AJ Reeves, that run off a screen, catch and shoot kind of a style. He was able to get another lead guard in Devin Carter, who, by the way, I didn't watch a ton of South Carolina last year. That dude can go. He is a player, man. He is good.
Surprised you didn't watch a ton of South Carolina last year.
No, I did. I mean, look, you know what? Bad SEC teams, I'm not going to watch them too often. And then Bryce Hopkins, like, it's wild to think that the best player on Kentucky's team right now is playing for Providence. Like, just think about that. Think where Kentucky would be if they had Bryce Hopkins. I'm serious. With what Bryce Hopkins is doing, like, think about how good Kentucky would be. if they
I
actually
said
figure
it
out
at
how to
that
use
red
it.
white game, whatever the blue white game, whatever the hell they have. I was there last year, and I'm like, this kid's gonna be a dude, and he
Mhm.
never played. And I'm like, what are you doing, Cal? He's kind of that new age forward, right? That he doesn't have a true position, but that's what works these days. Was he a 3? Is he a 4? Who gives a shit? You put him in the court, and he's just a mismatch.
And he just fits. Think about the best players that Providence has had in Ed Cooley's reign, right? Whether it's someone like a Ben Bento, whether it's someone like a LaDante Henton or a Rodney Bullock. Like, he knows how to do two things. He knows how to get a point guard to be able to make the plays that he needs them to make off the bounce, and he knows how to get one of those mismatch 4s and get them into a guy that averages 16 and 10. And that's exactly what Bryce Hopkins is. That's a good team. And the most impressive part to me, Megan, is when you bring in transfers, I think the one thing that you kind of risk is having a certain level of expectation for what you're going to get in your new spot and not necessarily living up to it, like role allocation, buy-in, all of those things. These dudes, like, they're there. You watch them play and you watch them interact, and it's like they've been, in that program for 3 or 4 years. He rebuilt this roster, but the culture and the identity of the team is still there. That's the most impressive thing to me.
And to
He
that
was finally
point,
able to do that.
when you're in the transfer portal nowadays, you're in there for maybe 24, 48 hours. You don't, as a coaching staff, have enough time now to do your homework. You're trying to work with little information, but you're kind of taking a chance on these guys nowadays, saying, hope it works. No, his numbers are good. No, he's, got potential, but where is that exactly going to lead? I do want to ask you guys this, because I feel like when we look at the Big East Conference as a whole, we have had so many different hot takes throughout this year. First, back in November, UConn was going to win it all.
The Doster hot take. That leads it.
Rob Doster's wearing his UConn jersey on Field of 68 after dark.
Mm-hmm.
And then, Creighton, we're hot on Creighton. Then we're not hot on Creighton after they lose 6 in a row. Kalkbrenner goes out. And now Xavier, you got but Providence is somebody who has still been able to kind of consistently be in the mix a little bit. Are you surprised with how this season has shaken out from a standing standpoint, specifically in that top 4?
I'm shocked that now Marquette could end up winning the damn thing, and nobody's.
Are you kidding? Right?
Think about it. Like,
they're
the one that slid under the radar all year.
Mm-hmm.
They could end up winning this thing, and again, the player of the year in the league, if they win it, should be Tyler Kulik. I mean, no doubt about it.
How fun has he been to watch?
Awesome.
Mm-hmm.
Freaking, he's got swagger.
Yeah, he's what teams don't have right now, which is a guy who could set you up, and he can also pick his spots and score. But he makes
the big difference with him, Jeff, is he's able to shoot it this year. He wasn't able to shoot it last year. Now he's a threat to pull you away from the basket. And it's not just Kolek. They found a way to modernize what they do, right? With Oso Iguodala with the 5, they don't have a post guy. Last year when they had Kurquath at the 5, they were more that, like, pressing. We're going to funnel everybody to the rim. We got the shot blocker. We're going to try to force turnovers. That's not really what they do this year. When they want to turn up the pressure, they could do it a little bit, but that's not really what they do. Like, Shaka went all in. He hired this guy, Nevada Smith, who was in the G League and was a D3 coach for a while, who's very into this, like, threes or layups, and we're going to modernize everything. And he's super into stats and efficiency and things like that. And they've really focused on, they've really focused on, okay, we're going to be a great offensive team. And that's not what you ever thought about when you thought of Shaka, right? When he was at VCU, it was havoc. They were pressing, they were trying to force turnovers, they were trying to full court press you to death. Like, it was Briante Weber, right? Turnovers, making it layups. When he was at Texas, it was still kind of the same thing. And the trouble that he had at Texas was you couldn't run that style without having guys that played in that program for 3 or 4. You needed bigger, physical, older, more athletic guys to do it. And it just didn't work at Texas when you had one and dones and guys that were coming in for a year or two and expecting to get out of there and go to the NBA. Now at Marquette, he's found a way to be able to build a system, to build a culture. Here's the scary part about this team, right? They are in first place in the Big East right now, and every single key player on that roster has 3 years of eligibility remaining.
Doesn't every player in the country have 3 years?
Well, pretty much, but yeah, like, that Marquette team could be around. Imagine how good they're going to be in 2024, 25. Like,
if they're going to have like 30-year-olds undefeated, man. They're going to be my age.
Yeah, right.
Out there by then. My gosh. Well, it's going to be interesting. Providence takes on Villanova next at home.